Welcome back to a Celtic State of Mind. I'm Paul John Dykes, joined this evening with a full house. It's Sean and it's Stephen and Anthony. And I'll tell you something, guys, right? I was trying to be quite positive before the game. Anthony, I'll start with you, but I didn't expect to be sitting 3-1 up. What did you make of that for the first half?
Well, I mean, to be 3-0 up after, 18, 20 minutes, you take that absolutely any day of the week. Probably gifted 2 goals, one from Vasilis Barkas, showing some of that form at Celtic Park, which, I don't know what he was doing with that back pass, but anyway, so we'll take that one every day of the week. Great first goal. I mean, the movement for that first goal was really well worked between Donovan and KT. Nygren just popping up and doing what he does, just finishing well. And then a VAR decision that gives us a penalty from a handball. I'd say probably the worst VAR decision since Sunday night.
I agree. Absolutely. Now, see, in terms of we'll dig into the more specific areas of the game. But in terms of the first half, I know we've kind of taken our foot off the gas, Sean. There's been some stray passes and we lose the goal. And there's a few frustrated comments coming through as a result of that. But I mean, let's give credit where credit's due. What an outstanding first half hour of football from Celtic.
Yeah, and Utrecht were surprisingly pressing very high. I was quite surprised. It was almost suicidal at times, how high they were pressing and some of the passing out from the back. That's what leads to, obviously, our second goal. Thank you, Vasilis Barkas. Obviously, we were playing the long game on that one. He comes back and gives us a goal. But yeah, we were playing through it. We were playing through it well. We were playing with pace, confidence, a little bit over the top at times. The 2 yellow cards that we picked up were kind of needless in a sense. But sometimes that comes from getting the instruction to play like that. And then in the kind of last 10, 15 minutes of the half there, we dropped off. And it's hard to really know if the drop off was like fatigue or mentally switching off from being too comfortable at 3-0 up, but there was a clear switching off for one of those reasons. And given the amount of games we played lately with very minimal squad rotation, I would lean towards fatigue, and that's kind of shown through. I was kind of side eyeing it while it was going on when we went 3-0 up. I was like, the way the 36 team league, the way it works, every goal counts, and then I started kind of going through it, and I can't really actually see a situation where it does matter, to be honest, beyond the 3 points. Like I was checking on the results of all the teams around us, and there was like an opportunity to maybe move up one place, but you need to kind of move up 2 places to get a better draw. So I think a win is going to have us in that 20th spot, 19th or 20th, and I don't really see a way that the goal difference is going to change that. So I'm not overly concerned. At this point, I'd actually be more concerned with like maybe getting one more goal, maybe just consolidating it and then kind of managing the fatigue and the minutes and the legs at that point.
Yeah, and by the way, I noticed, because obviously, Stephen, we're all body language experts on Acsom. I noticed Martin O'Neill making his way up that tunnel, looking a wee bit angry, I guess. And if we're a wee bit frustrated at losing a goal, I'm pretty sure Martin O'Neill will have a few choice words to say at half-time as well.
Yeah, he didn't look happy. He couldn't get up that tunnel quick enough. He probably doesn't move that fast for his pension. Yeah, He
doesn't need a pension after getting a second wind from Desmond, does he?
He's paid in all his life. He's entitled to it. I was actually starting to get really frustrated that last 15 minutes because I was looking at it. I was actually thinking I want to finish this with a positive or at least a 0 goal difference, because we started tonight -4. Because I can't think of too many times where we've had a positive goal difference in a kind of group phase. So just purely for that, I was thinking, let's try and get another couple of goals, but they've dropped off so much, and then you're picking up a couple of yellows, so you're already in the game with Scales and Maeda carrying yellows, so you can't afford them to get another booking tonight, or else they're out the first leg of the next round. And now you've got Yang, who looks he let that guy go at the end because he was on a yellow, so I'd be looking to change him at half time. The ball's not really sticking with Maeda, although he's pressing well. There's a potential to make a couple of changes at half times. I think Yang might come off for maybe McCowan or someone else, but I think the manager was pretty annoyed, especially with Yang dropping his man, and it could have been 3-2. I mean, it was a good save by Schmeichel. He's not had much to do, but that was a pretty good save.
It was decent. If I think Yang would be an obvious one. Actually, the two wingers, Tunecki's been very weak in defence. If they were to come off, what options do we have here? So McCowan, of course, Jamesy, Forrest as well could come into play. I guess Maida could go out wide left. Iheanacho could come in at some stage. But yeah, I'm not going to be overly negative about that because, I mean, with 20 minutes in, we were 3 goals up, apparently for the first time ever in Celtic's European history. So let's talk about some of the positives here. I think when we're looking at the opening goal by Nygren, Anthony, we were talking about him before the game and just the enigmatic Benjamin Nygren, always good for a goal. But to be honest with you, I think it's all about the fullbacks, and both Donovan and KT have been outstanding in that first half for me.
Yeah, no, they're both playing on the front foot. So KT's intercepted 3 or 4 Utrecht passes and sort of turned defence into attack very, very quickly. And I think that's where we've had the most joy, is really catching Utrecht in transition. As Sean said, they have been trying to play quite a high line, and then that gives us the opportunity to get in behind them. I think there was definitely one chance with Maeda where he should have done a lot better. He took a really heavy first or second touch and it sort of broke down. But that's the sort of joy that we could get in the second half if we can just sort of keep that pressure. Donovan also equally on the other side, playing on the front foot. Also, I mentioned to Liam Stiles, 4 really, really crucial defensive headers, really, really strong clearances that I've counted so far.
Yeah.
And I think Engels and McGregor are having good games as well. McGregor's recycling the possession really, really well, and Engels has been good on the ball. When he's been sort of getting in those sort of positions. Happy enough, like I said, I think everyone's acknowledged it. It's just that drop off from about the 30-minute mark. Tunecki was caught snapping for that goal. He didn't track his runner. We sort of pressed high to try and win the ball back, and you need everybody switched on if you're going to do that. And unfortunately, he didn't. And then the players had the opportunity to have a free shot at goal. But yeah, like I say, it's a wee bit of a shame because I think at 3-0, you could ring some changes at halftime. You could maybe rest players who you need to rest, like KT, maybe Cal McGregor. But at 3-1, you can't really do that now. So you're then looking at players who maybe, like say Yang, Maeda, maybe if we're convinced we can give Klitsch and Iheanacho some decent minutes. But if he's only on there as a break glass in case of emergency, well, maybe Maeda stays on. But yeah, I guess we'll see in the second half what goes there.
Yeah. We will do. Ewan Martin is in Bangkok. He's up at 3:50 watching the game. Good on you. What time is Anthony and Shauna over in Australia, guys?
We're coming on to 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Oh,
my son will be up at full time.
See you too. It's absolute dedication. I need to come to Sean, our resident. I think the other day I said our resident referee was Kevin McCluskey, Anthony. I don't know what I was thinking. It's not Kevin McCluskey. Don't blame him. It's Sean Connolly. And we've got a lot of people coming in talking about this penalty. Clear penalty. Worst penalty I can remember, even worse than the one against Iwata. And Dylan comes in to say it was never a penalty. But if we were 2-0 down and didn't get it, we'd be fishing and phoning all night. Right, what's your take on it, Sean Conley? Penalty or not?
Yeah, that should not have been given as a penalty. There was some very soft criteria you could apply to give it if you really want to give it. I was quite surprised it was given, to be honest, particularly that it was a VAR review. If the referee's given it on the field, I'd be like, yeah, okay, it's kind of hard to overturn in a sense, but I don't think there's because the main criteria are movement of the arm. The guy's not moving his arm. The arm's just outstretched, in a normal position. Silhouette, well, it's within his silhouette unless you turn his silhouette side on, and that's the criteria I reckon they've applied there. And then the distance the ball travels, and it's what was it travel 3 inches or something? So he's got no time to react. I think it was if that's given. I don't see that one being given in a big game in Scotland, for example. I think it was a nonsense call. I would be raging if it went against us.
That sometimes is the way I look at it, Stephen. What if that was a decision against us? How am I feeling? I thought it was soft. I did think it was soft, but fair play to Engels. He steps up, he's composed, he puts it away, and we go 3-0 up. It's not often we get soft ones like that, is it? So we'll take it, Stephen.
Hard-boiled egg, soft-boiled egg, still a boiled egg. For me, it's a penalty all day.
Love
You're
it.
saying this. You're talking about the silhouette. His arms are out in front of him. He's jumping his arms out, stretched in front of him. I know it's not going towards goal or anything, but I've seen these penalties given every time I watch a European sort of match night. You know, I remember the one where it was given against Matt Riley in the Bernabeu, where the shot's going miles over the bar and it glances his arm and it gets our VAR review and it gives against us. I just think anytime the referee actually, maybe 10 minutes later, Tanecki was shouting for a pen and the referee was making the signal that his arms are down by his side. Because his arms are outstretched, I just think in Europe, I maybe agree in Scotland that might not get given, but I think in Europe, anytime your arms are outstretched and the ball hits you, it doesn't matter how far. And I know the criteria should be taken into consideration, but because his arms are almost out in front of him as opposed to his side, I think it's going to get given all day long. And and it would be harsh if it was against us, but my first instinct when I seen it is in Europe, this is a penalty. Whether you agree or don't agree, I don't necessarily agree it should be, but I'm just going on what I see most weeks when I watch European football.
It's interesting how football comes around. If you look at tonight, Anthony, how certain things come around. Barkas comes back to play at Celtic Park, and Neil Lennon sitting in the gantry commentating, saying, I had a difficult time when he was here in Glasgow. Every time he touches the ball, he gets booed. I was given quite a bit of credit, actually, last week. Everybody thought it was too much credit to Hatate for playing, that high line and really closing down the goalie, and then they kind of panic. And, the same thing happened tonight with Maida. He closes down the goalie, he presses high, Barkas panics, the ball gets played astray. But Barkas, he was a goalkeeper who, for me, at £5 million, scared us into never signing a goalie again. We look for goalkeepers now who are at the end of their careers and bring them up to Scotland. The booing, it's like a pantomime villain, though, really, isn't it, Anthony? And I'm hoping that he is spooked and he concedes a few others in the second half. What do you make, though, of our performance in the first half based on the season we've had? Europa League was gone for me. I was, not from a sense of not being interested. I just thought there's no chance. It's a bridge too far. And now we're 45 minutes away from qualifying for a playoff. I think this is outstanding.
Well, I mean, Martin O'Neill's got us up off the canvas. I mean, it was the win against Feyenoord that sort of reinvigorated that whole campaign. And it sort of just obviously took a starter step against Roma at home with Wilfred Nancy. Getting the point last week in Bologna, I mean, that set the tie up tonight. I mean, we don't get that point, then we're relying on other results, and it's an if but or maybe situation. But tonight we knew if we win, we're through. And I think sometimes that's the best situation to be in. You just know that if you get a result, then nothing else matters. And as far as football's concerned, I'm sure that makes it nice and simple for them. It's like, can't afford a draw, we're going to go out and get a win. And I think that showed in that first 20 minutes, 30 minutes of that match. Our pressing was good. Like you say, that second goal comes from that, and teams incessantly try to play out from the back who maybe either aren't good enough to do it or, just insist on doing it even when they're under the cosh. That's what gives us that second goal. And then, like I said, the third one's the icing on the cake there. So, I can't stress enough that it's been a couple of results under Martin O'Neill that's got this whole campaign back on track. And like you say, 45 minutes to go, let's just get it done. At one point, it was looking like we might have been playing Porto in a knockout tie. Rangers 1-0 up, but Porto have rectified that and are now 3-1 up. So they're now back up into the top 8. So we definitely won't be seeing them by the looks of things in the next round.
Yeah, this is the thing, Sean. All credit to Martin O'Neill. It will come as no surprise to anybody who watches Acsom that I'm a massive fan anyway. However, what he's done here in terms of the Europa League campaign, I think is sensational. I mean, 2 wins and a draw, 2 brilliant results away from home. And Midtjylland was maybe a bridge too far. Would have been very surprised if we got anything there. Yet, we're sitting 20th in this table. We're in that all-important middle section. And unless we capitulate in the second half, and I can't see it happening, we're through. And it's fantastic when you consider where we were. And even when you consider last week, a draw against Bologna away, and then tonight hopefully a convincing result at Celtic Park, that they're chanting Martin O'Neill, and it's absolutely no wonder. I don't think, Sean, I'm overplaying it when I say that when that call was made, first and second time this season, I don't think anybody could come in and do what O'Neill's done. Under the circumstances, the unification that he's brought to Celtic Park, I can't see anybody else having done that, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying between the lines is we've been garbage and we don't deserve to be qualifying for anything in Europe, and that's a fair assessment of the season because we've been struggling against teams in Scotland, losing to Dundee, last-minute winners against Kilmarnock and Motherwell, poorest points total since pre-Martin O'Neill last time, so it's definitely... it's not been a good year. So to be qualifying and looking at European football in February and potentially winning the first knockout tie in Europe since Martin O'Neill last was here. No, sorry, 2 times ago. The last time Martin O'Neill was 2 times ago. It's significant, I think.
No, it definitely is. Now, the second half has kicked off, so apologies to anyone who's missing the first minute or so of the game. Go and watch the action. All that's left for me to say is thank you once again, Sean, Anthony and Stephen, and join us at full time on A Celtic State of Mind.